Today is Saturday, the 30th of April 2022, and we are all gathered here in anticipation for the 30th session on mindfulness for beginners in English. And on behalf of everyone, I would like to welcome with much respect Venerable Bhante Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero to today's session on mindfulness. Along with that, I would also like to welcome with much warmth all attendees to this session and all organizers to this session attending through Zoom technology. And as the first initial step in our session, I would like to invite Venerable Bhante to guide us through an in-session mindfulness practice to start things off. Over to you, Bhante. Much merits.
Hello everybody. So today, as the practicing part, we will start with a mindful walking session. So for this, you have to have some space where you can walk back and forth for about 10 to 15 feet would be enough. So make sure that you have some space nearby. And when you select that space, you can start walking. You start walking back and forth in a comfortable manner. And now we know how to walk, but during this practice, we try to be aware while walking. So that's the difference. Instead of just walking, we try to pay attention that we are walking, and we try to notice throughout this process. So make sure that you walk comfortably and you try to pay attention. You try to notice what is happening. You try to be present. Be present and be aware that you are walking. When you be aware like that, when you pay attention like that, then you may start to notice various things from the present moment. Initially, you might feel that the sights are grabbing your attention. Then surrounding sounds also you hear. But again and again, you pay attention to this process. You try to be aware more and more. And when you do that, then you may start to feel your body as well. How the weight is shifting from one leg to the other. How the ground is touching against your feet. The texture of the ground. The temperature of the ground. You may start to feel. Again and again, the sounds may appear. Your attention will go to the things that you see. But again and again, we try to be aware about this process. When you hear something, you can be aware that you are hearing something. When you see something, you can be aware that you are seeing something. And time to time, thoughts will appear as well. And when they appear, you can be aware that you are thinking. Various past, future incidents are coming. And that awareness, we try to maintain. So when you pay attention again and again, you may start to notice various details as well. Which parts of your feet is touching the ground first? Maybe it is the heel that is touching first. Maybe the toes are touching. You can notice. Then there may be a difference between your leg foot and the right foot. Left versus right, there could be a difference. So you can notice those differences as well. So the basic idea is that we try to be aware, we try to pay attention while walking. And when you pay attention, these details, these sensations, you can observe. So as a group, we will try to do a mindful walking session, and we will try to observe what we feel during this time. Probably around 10 to 15 minutes we can spend for this walking session. Okay, now you can come back to your seats. That was our time for mindful walking today. And this is just an introduction. So you have to do it on your own. Try to practice every day, 30-40 minutes. Try to walk comfortably and try to be aware what is happening. Notice what you notice, what are the sensations that you observe. So that awareness we are practicing while walking, sitting, and during day-to-day activities. So with that, I think we can go to the next part now, Manth.
Thank you so much, Bhante, for that support and help on the in-session practice. Next is the presentation of reports. Today we have 2 reports, and I would like to invite Nadeep to present the 2 reports to Bhante and also conduct the complete Q&A session for today. Over to you, Nadeep. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Namanta and Mere minutes. We have 2 reports received today, Bhante. So with your permission, let me present those 2 reports. First one, daily activity. Watching pain as primary object following tooth extraction in the lower jaw, decided to observe pain recognizing it as a Vedana, Chaitasika, rather than my pain as a meditation object. Observe the mind adverting to the pain arising, changing and passing first in one acted, but perceived in the upper jaw, ear, other teeth in upper and lower jaw. Recognize that the perception of the site of pain was prominent to the mind for a time, but then changed to another site. Observe the short duration where there was no pain present. In between, the variation of intensity. The nature also changed at times, an ache, sharp, dragging or throbbing at other times. These 2 broke up and passed. Noted mind observing occasionally, wanting the pain to go, but recognizing the inability to control and recognizing non-self aspect. Also recognized mind trying to come back to accepting situation and remembering many who did not have access to analgesia, unlike us in this country, and many others enduring much worse pains. After several hours of observation, decided to take painkillers. Sitting meditation. Decided on allowing mind to take any object that came in to the awareness. Noted that the back of things on chair, hardness of seat, the mind recognizing the hardness and relative softness of the thighs. Similarly, the feet on the ground noted. Mind then went to breathe at nostrils, observed in and out breath, and then mind adverted to the expansion and contraction of chest. Mind noted, contemplate air element and the solid element of chest wall. Sound heard again, mind aware of it arising and passing and reappearing with the gap in the middle. Contemplating the arising of the sound, consciousness at the moment to sound was heard. The silence when sound stopped also observed. Sweating noted all over body. Mind noting it as water element. Position and noted the urge in mind to do so. Eyes open with 4 minutes to go to the hour. Closed eyes again, noted eyelids touching each other and hands on lap on top of one another. Saliva in mouth swallowed, noting movement of lip. Pain in jaw observed. Alarm went after 1 hour. Walking meditation. Would you want me to continue, Bhante, or just stop there?
No, this is from the same writer, right?
Yes, yeah.
So we will finish the entire thing.
Okay. Walked 15 steps on noted weight of body at the start on the feet and hardness of flow. Lifting, moving, placing of feet and sensation of air on sole of foot when lifting noticed. Touched of heel, mid-foot and then toes observed. Pressure of toes and side of foot used to steady the feet when gait became unsteady at times. Thoughts and sounds noticed not disturbing. Waves of cold sensation passed through the body during the whole period of walking. Walked 30 minutes with much gratitude for the guidance and to the organizers. That's the end of the report, Bhante.
Okay, so when we have pain in our body, usually we have aversion towards that. We don't want to feel. We reject these sensations, the pain, and we try to get rid of it. Right? So, but if you observe with mindfulness, with awareness, keeping aside that aversion in your mind, then the pain is not that difficult. It's bearable. But if you have that aversion in your mind, then it is becoming more and more difficult. So there is a physical pain as well as suffering in your mind. Two parts are there. You want to get rid of this pain. You are not accepting, you are not welcoming this pain that came your way. Instead, you are trying to get rid of it. So due to this struggle, you have suffering in your mind, in addition to the physical pain. So this suffering part is the difficult one that we have to face. But if you have mindfulness in your mind, you can just let these thoughts, ideas go and try to observe pain as its original form. It's a physical pain that is appearing and disappearing. But if you have this idea of getting rid of this pain, then we have additional amount on top of the initial physical pain. But when you keep that part aside and observe, pain is showing various patterns and things when we observe. You can see how it is appearing, how it is progressing, how it is moving to various parts of your body. These things you can observe. Then you can notice how these things are appearing and disappearing like bubbles. It is not a solid pain, but a collection of tiny pain bubbles. And these bubbles are also not solid. They appear, they disappear. They appear, they disappear. So every time when you observe, you see that one point is getting painful and the next moment it is released. Again, some other point you get a pain and the next moment it is released. So this dynamic nature of the pain you can observe when you observe with mindfulness. Right? As long as you observe this nature, then you don't have that aversion in your mind. And the pain, the physical pain is bearable. You can stay with it. So it helps to improve your mindfulness. It helps to develop this practice. But some people, they don't want to face this part, especially towards the end of your sitting session as well. You get bodily aches, pains. So as soon as you get them, you try to get up and go. But if you stay for a few minutes, then you can see how the pain is appearing, how it is progressing, how it is moving to various parts of your body. These things you can observe. And it is important that we learn the art of dealing with pain in our practice. If you don't want to deal with it, then you are afraid and you have this suffering part in your mind, which is much greater than the physical pain, which creates a lot of confusion in your mind. But if you leave that part aside, then it's just a physical pain that is appearing and disappearing. And when you have the ability to observe that, that is a huge difference in your practice. So when it comes to dealing with pain, you have to go step by step. Don't try to take it on at once. Instead, little by little, try to practice, try to be aware for few more seconds, few more minutes, 10-15 minutes, like that you can do. Especially towards the end of your sitting practice, you can see how the pain is appearing. And there's opportunity for you to deal with pain. So try to stay for a few minutes and see how this is progressing. How can you observe it without aversion in your mind? So this is a valuable skill that we have to learn, how to deal with pain. Anyway, it will come, right? We don't know the occasion. When it will come, we don't know. It could be a toothache, it could be some other pain, it could be a broken bone. We don't know. We don't know what will come. So it is good that if you are prepared for this part of your practice, which is a difficult one. Most people, they don't want to deal with this. They want to avoid. So the recommendation is not to go after seeking pain. Instead, when it comes, probably as a headache, probably as a toothache, when it comes, try to accept it, try to be with it for a few minutes, few hours, try to see, try to observe. And that's how we are going to develop this capacity to deal with pain.
Avasrai Bhante, the second report. Mindful walking from work. As I began to concentrate on the movement of the feet, a cool sensation arose in the brain. The coolness was incredible and indescribable. It ran all over the body. Mind stayed free from thoughts for the duration of the short walk, but the awareness was there. Upon reaching my destination, mind began to wander again. Mindful sitting. Sat down to bring my heart home after a busy day at work. Initially, lots of thought came flooding in, mostly to do with my father's recent demise. Could I have done more to save him? But at the same time, an awareness came that these thoughts are impermanent, reflected on the impermanence of them within brackets, anitya, dukkha, anatma, close bracket. Then they faded away. After a few more minutes, dancing with thoughts, mind became totally empty of thoughts. It stayed empty for a short while, and then an irrelevant thought arose again. Then it passed away. Mind went back to the total emptiness and stayed like that for a long time. Day-to-day activities. Find myself being more and more mindful upon walking to work, standing, sitting, etc. But when at work, within brackets, teaching, close bracket, with the business, no time to notice anything. Your support is very much appreciated, Bhante, to develop my practice, and may my reflection be of some use to others. With metta. That's the end of the report, Bhante.
Okay, so passing of a loved one or death. So when it comes to death, we try to find out the reasoning. We try to do the autopsy. We try to find whether it was a illness, whether it was an accident, whether it was some other thing. We try to find the reasoning. But if you think about it, what is the real reasoning behind death? If you really think about it, if you reflect upon the real reasoning is birth. As soon as you are born, you are destined to die. As soon as you are born, you become terminal. Nobody will get out of this alive. Everybody is terminal. So that's the reality of this world. So there is no point in trying to find the reasoning behind death. It is the birth. That's the reasoning. It could be tomorrow. It could be in 20, 30 years. It will happen. Definitely happen. Right? So that is the reality in this world. We don't know what's around the corner. We don't know how long we have. So it's a waste of time if you keep worrying about a loved one who passed away. Because what happened, it was the way that has to be happened. That was the way that it was supposed to happen, right? So we don't have a saying in these things, but we try to find a reasoning. We try to seek for a saying in these things. So somebody goes to a river and he's imagining if this river is flowing uphill, it is better. So that's his determination. Instead of downhill, this river should flow uphill. But will it ever happen? This person can try, exhaust himself. But this will never going to happen. The nature of the water is that it's flowing downhill. It's seeking lower grounds. That is the nature of the water. So similarly, as soon as we are born, we are destined to die. And every moment this process is in our body, it is always happening. Every moment your cells are dying, every moment new cells are born. In this process, always some wearing out is there. So as soon as you are born, you are terminal. As soon as that incident happens, you start to die. So that's the reality in this world. So you have to find some reasoning and somehow deal with these incidents and try to move on. If there is something you could do it. If there's nothing, you have to move on and continue with your life. Because death is waiting for us as well. The only matter is the matter of time. And we don't know when it will happen. So with that uncertainty, we try to practice, we try to be aware, we try to continue this exercise, this practice to find real peace in our mind. So things will come, things will go. That is the nature. Sometimes it is totally peaceful, no thoughts appearing. Sometimes you are dancing with thoughts. So both situations, you have to maintain a peaceful mind. Not only when there's peace without any thoughts, but even when we have thoughts, can we maintain peace? So when it comes to peace in your mind, tranquility in your mind, there are two types. One type is that due to lack of troubles, we have peace, tranquility in our mind. So when you go to a forest, when you get away from other people, you see this effect. You see, due to lack of troubles, lack of objects, I have tranquility in my mind. So that is the first type. Due to lack of troubles, lack of objects, we have tranquility in our mind. The second type is that you have tranquility due to wisdom. Which one is superior? The second one is superior because the first one will only last till you meet somebody or till you get to a difficult situation. So even though you live in a forest, the people and the situations will come looking for you. So this first type of tranquility is temporary. It will last only till somebody comes. Right? But the second type, tranquility due to wisdom, is the one we are after. That tranquility, no matter how many objects are there, no matter what is the situation, how many people are there, our mind is at peace. So this is the proper tranquility that we are after. And with that tranquility, we have real peace. It doesn't depend on the people or the situations. So with our practice, we try to aim for the second one. Of course, we come across the first one when we practice. Sometimes mind is at peace and there are no thoughts, right? But that is temporary. When you do this practice again and again, you see the mind is dancing with thoughts. Troubles are there, still you are practicing. You see how they rise and cease. You continue your practice. And wisdom will arise. When I say wisdom, it's the distance that your mind will create from these mind objects. Due to that distance, you are not moved so much as you used to be. Due to that distance, due to that wisdom, you have a tranquility in your mind. Mind objects are there, but mind is at peace. That is the real tranquility we are after. That will come through practice. So consider both situations, free of thoughts, dancing with thoughts. Both situations, you have to maintain a similar type of attitude towards these situations and try to continue your practice. No thoughts, fine, I'm peaceful. When there's thoughts, can I be peaceful? Can I maintain my mindfulness? So that is the skill we are developing. Every time when we meditate, we get this opportunity. You have spaces, no thoughts. And suddenly thoughts appear and the mind starts dancing. So this is how you get the opportunity to practice. People come and blame you. Various incidents will happen. This is how you get the opportunity to practice. During work hours, you don't have any time to focus. But that's fine. You have to somehow function. So every day we try to approach this daily life as a practicing session and try to develop this real tranquility in our mind, which is the tranquility that comes from the wisdom. Right? So consider these situations, face these situations equally and try to practice. No thoughts, fine. Dancing with thoughts, fine. Can I face them equally? Can I practice? Can I continue my mindfulness? And when you do that, there's no difference between no thoughts or the dancing with thoughts. That's how the real peace arises in your mind. So try to continue and try to report to the group.
Thank you, Bhante. That's the only 2 written reports we have received today. May we accept any verbal questions?
Yeah, we can take some time for that as well.
Dear participants, we may have a few minutes for any verbal question if you have. Please raise Zoom hand and present yourself. Already Panchani, please unmute and present your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Bhante. Thank you, dear organizers. Last week, Bhante, you mentioned that contemplating on Anitya Dukkha Anatma is suppressing thoughts. Can you just explain it a little bit more? Because that's how I have been practicing. Maybe I should stop and just notice the thoughts as it arises. Can you just explain the difference between the two ways, please, Bhante?
Can you repeat the question? I didn't get the initial part. Was last week?
Okay, so Bhante, last week you mentioned that contemplating on Anitya Dukkha Anatma is actually suppressing the thoughts or suppressing the feelings, and I should not suppress it, but I should just note it. So I have been practicing that way. So maybe if you could explain how it is actually suppressing the thoughts, contemplating on Anitya Dukkha Anatma.
Okay, so when it comes to this practice, if you try to suppress, then that is not the proper way. Suppressing means that you have a choice, you have a saying in these things. So that goes against with our practice of change, or Anitya Dukkha Anatta, or this mindful practice. So if you suppress, that means you have a saying in this process. You try to control it. But if you allow them to pass as they wish, allow them to come and go, then that is the real uncertainty that we have to accept. Since this mind is uncertain, we get thoughts that we don't like. And if you stay mindful, you can see within few minutes they go away. So that nature is the anitya that we are talking. So if you accept that, then you realize the thoughts are coming and going. They are coming without my approval. And they are going without telling me. So that's the real nature of this mind. If you think you have a choice, if you think you have a saying, then you try to suppress, you try to control. These thoughts can't be there. Good thoughts, pleasant thoughts, I accept. That's not the way. You have to let them come and go freely. If you keep suppressing, that is not good for your health, mental health as well as the physical health. Both are connected. So let them come and go. I know it's difficult time to time. Sometimes it's difficult. So you have to find some tools dealing with them, maybe exercise once in a while, maybe go for a walk outside. So various things are there that you can apply into your day-to-day life. But the practice is that you have to somehow accept these thoughts and feelings and let them come and go freely. Right? When you do that, you're accepting the anitya, uncertainty of this world. And if it is anitya, if it is dukkha, then of course it's non-self. There's no real self. If you have a self, then you have to, you should be able to control it. You should be able to have a saying in this. You should be able to tell your body, stop. This is enough. Now we are at the peak of our life. And I prefer maintaining this body. But it won't listen. It will go on its own way and keep changing. And gray hair will appear. Skin will lose its color. And you will get aches and pains. So although we wish, it doesn't happen. Same with the mind. Mind is even more aggressive than the body. When you say these thoughts can't be there, when you have that suppression, then it will always give those thoughts. Always
Yeah.
they are knocking on your door. But if you accept them, let them come and go freely, keep the door open, then there's no issue. You just be aware. Okay, time to time anger comes, time to time sadness comes, time to time lust comes. So they appear, they disappear. They come without your approval and they leave without your approval. Real practice, real anitya dukkha anatma is allowing these thoughts to come and go as they wish. That's why I mentioned earlier as well. No thoughts. Mind is free of thoughts. Fine. We are happy. But mind is dancing with thoughts. Can I maintain an equal attitude towards both situations? That's the real practice. If you can be at peace when there are no thoughts, fine. If you can be at peace when the mind is dancing with thoughts, that's also another part. So even during one sitting session, we go through these phases. Sometimes no thoughts, again dancing with thoughts, no thoughts, dancing with thoughts. That's how it goes. So accepting this nature of the mind is the practice. That is why we say without judgment, we observe. We allow things to come and go freely and be aware. That awareness is what we are recommending.
Absolutely understood, Bhante. Thank you so much.
We have few more minutes if you have any more questions, dear participants. Okay, Bandula, Mr. Bandula, please unmute yourself and present the question, please.
Sorry, Bhante. Last week, I think I asked a question about the frustration and anger develop in your mind just because of a few things happen, partly due to some of the situations in Sri Lanka. So I try, as you advised, Bhante, try to see that aversion in the mind. So it's a difficult practice because I was too much attached to the peace of mind, because I always like to maintain the peace in the mind. So I was looking the situation in few angles. One is so like I try to see my desire in my mind for the peace, because I don't like those the aversion, the frustration, it develop in the mind. So that's one. At the same time, I try to see, I watch it. I try to maintain some balance. So I just let go those desire, and at the same time, I try to see the balance. Say it's okay. Let the any disturbing thought comes. So let try to accept it. So in that with that the attitude, I was able to see more and more the frustration. I can stay with the frustration. So I thought, Bhante, it's a good opportunity. So now what I am trying, if I got anything, my mind is disturbed, so I'm trying to see more and more now. So I thought it is a very helpful advice, Bhante, the last time, so participating to the discussion. and the advice you have given to me. Thank you very much, Bhante.
Okay, so when it comes to practice, initially we try to get rid of the people. We go to a forest or somewhere where it is peaceful and we try to practice. So due to that environment, we get some kind of a peace, right? So that's the tranquility due to the environment. Then economic problems are there. So you can't really have a peaceful mind in this world. Even you go to a far away remote mountain, things will come, right? So this tranquility due to lack of troubles helps, but it is only the beginning part of the practice, the initial part of the practice. And when you evolve in your practice, when you progress, you have to find the real tranquility, which is the tranquility due to wisdom. That wisdom will allow you to be at peace, even you are in a crowded situation, even you are in a peaceful situation, doesn't matter. It will allow you to be at real peace. So that is why we are after this type of a practice. We have to accept both situations with equal mind. If it is at peace, fine. But if it is with troubles, these political things are there, these economic problems are there, so we are at trouble, right? So when that happens, what is my reaction? How am I facing these situations? So those are opportunities for you to practice. And when you practice like that, you realize it is improving, it is progressing, not the situation, but your reaction, right? Initially, you were worrying about those things, maybe for weeks. Now within 3-4 days, you get back to your usual rhythm. And with more practice, you realize within few hours, you get back to your usual rhythm, right? So that is how the practice goes. That is how it is developing. That's why I say tranquility due to wisdom. That is the lasting peace that we are talking. Otherwise, you go to an environment, you get rid of people, you are at peace, but it is only temporary. It will last only few days, few hours. But when you find real peace, which comes from wisdom, then you realize the environment is chaos, right? Various problems are there, people die, various financial matters are there, but still your mind is at peace. So that difference is really valuable, because this world is always changing. Always changing. When situations are better, we have to be careful because it will go the other way, right? So today is a new moon Poya day, right? This world is like moon. It is always changing. Now, if you look at the sky, no moon, you can't see. But it will go through the waxing cycle. Little by little, it will appear. Then you'll see a half moon, right? Then you see a full moon. Again, it goes the waning cycle, reduces little by little. Then you again see a half moon, then it vanishes. So this is the world. It is always constantly changing. The flux of change that we are living in, right? So when we are in a changing situation, how can you have real peace if you try to maintain only the outside situations, outside people? No, that's not the way. You have to find peace within you. You have to find the tranquility that comes from the wisdom. The way to find is dealing with these things. As you mentioned, you accept them. Don't, first thing, the most valuable thing, don't try to get rid of them. Just let them be, right? Consider them as children of this mind. If you have children, although they could be bad, you can't get rid of them, no. Somehow you have to, maintain them. Somehow you have to let them be. No matter how bad they are, you won't get rid of them because they are children. Right? So these things, these emotions, feelings, they are children of your mind. So you can't really get rid of them. Instead, you accept. You know that they are bad, but still you let them be, right? They should have a roof over their head. That's how you think, right? Similarly, these qualities in your mind, they are children of your mind. So let them be. Don't try to get rid of them. If you try to get rid of them, that creates even more trouble, right? Let them be. Just let them have their way. And you just be the observer. Okay, this person is doing this. This emotion is progressing like this. You just try to be aware. That awareness is the practice. That very awareness is what we are recommending. So continue and see, can you be at peace in both situations? When there are no agitation, fine, you're at peace. When there's agitation, can I be at peace? So that peace comes from the wisdom. So every day you get chances. So this time is a good time to practice because a lot of troubles are there. Try and see how you can progress in practice using these situations.
Thank you, Bhante. It's a little question. So if something going on in your mind, as you said, it is initially you carry on with that. So and so, or someone sent a bad email, someone sent me, there's a lot of messages, WhatsApp messages coming. So first you blame someone with the other person. So then after that, you understand it. It's not that the person did to me. So to keep a distance between. So initially there is an incident, but after some time, say hours or 2 hours later, so you are not with the mindfulness. So those things comes to your mind, and then you make a world around that. Say so and so did this to me, so and so. So it takes time to keep a distance between the thoughts, the person, and the thoughts. So that once you get the distance, you get the balance. But maintaining a distance between what's happening in your mind is the difficult part, I think. So if you can make a little bit explanation on that, Bhante.
Yeah, that's the progress that we are going after, right? First, maybe you see after a few hours that you find the real situation. You see the bigger picture. But when you practice more and more, this distance, it is getting shorter and shorter. And one day you realize, today I am mad and I have this awareness. I have this bigger picture about the situation. Still you are angry, but you have this awareness. So you can just let them be. Don't try to react so swiftly, and let other things evolve. Let other things open. Let them come to your attention. That's how we have to be, right? We won't react suddenly. Instead, we just wait for a while. When you wait, there's time for other things to come. There's time for other information to come. So that is how we want to face these situations. Sometimes, let's say somebody come and say something, right? You suddenly want to jump on them. You want to blame, right? But if you just keep quiet, if you just let things evolve, then maybe next day the same person will come and apologize. They will say, I was mistaken, sorry, I blamed you. But if you reacted the day before, then you are worsening the situation. So just allowing things to evolve, it's important. That's why have a waiting list, right? When these situations come, when these ideas, thoughts to react come, you just put them on the waiting list. Okay, I see that you are important. You are giving an important message. We will sort out tomorrow. Then another thing comes. You say, okay, we will sort out tomorrow. And when you have that attitude, things evolve. And most of the problems, majority of them, they solve themselves. You don't have to even do anything, right? So that's the way of practice. So you have to keep some space, give some time for things to evolve, not stop reacting, just let them be and try to see the bigger picture. When you give time, of course, you get more data, more information, and you start to see the bigger picture. Most of the problems, they solve themselves. You don't even have to act. Let's say even after a few time, after 3-4 days, still it is important. Still you have to do something. Then do it. That's fine. You don't have to avoid everything. Just do it, act. Then that's fine. But most of these situations, there's no such urgency, but we act and we worsen the situation. That's how we react, right? So you have to allow them to be, just observe more and more. Try to find more details, try to see the bigger picture. And when you see that, then you realize there's no need for me to react to these situations. They solve themselves. Right? They came without our approval, and they will sort out without our approval. That's how the world works. But if you jump in the middle, if you act, then of course you create a situation. So try and see. You are asking about the progress. It will come. You just have to, practice more and more.
Thank you very much, Bhante, for the explanation. And thank you, Nadeep.
Thank you, Mr. Bandula. I think we are a little bit over the time, Bhante. So thank you very much, and many merits for your valuable advices for the mindful practitioners. And I would like to conclude the Q&A session, and over to you, Namante. So.
Thank you very much, Nadeep, and much merits Bhante, much merits Nadeep. I will quickly share the screen for quick instructions to beginners. I think you can see on screen the few pointers on starting up with mindfulness when you're beginning this training. Firstly, you have to watch the 2 videos we have available on YouTube. The first one is on mindful walking, which describes how you can concentrate on the various objects popping into your mind, and also how you can maintain or visualize concentration on the sole of your feet, body movements, and other prominent aspects of the walking. Then the same goes for mindful sitting. It could be breath, it could be abdomen movements or bodily sensations. And the way to maintain mindfulness during this session is very well described for a beginner to understand easily in this video on mindful sitting. And this is currently available in the Zoom chat section, and you can copy it to another file, so you can easily go through these 2 videos. The next step would be for you to allocate some time daily, depending on your schedule. You can allocate 10-15 minutes, or maybe up to 1 hour on one session of mindful walking. And also another similar time should be allocated on the next session for mindful sitting. And you can do this for a few days. So if you're beginning, it will be a few days, and then you can proceed on to submit a written report describing your interaction with your mindful walking and on your interaction on your mindful sitting. So that report writing will be the 3rd step. You can describe if you're writing about the mindful walking, you can describe your walking, the sensations on your body movement, soles of your feet, or any other perceptions. Then if it is the report on mindful sitting, you can describe what happened to your attention, whether it shifted away from bodily sensations or sensations of breath, and whether it returned, and then whether there were any thoughts disturbing you. So here you can be creative and try to describe in as much detail as possible in your own words what you experienced. And what we understand is that when you write these, your perception and understanding of your own mindfulness starts to improve and starts to consolidate. So it is always good to submit these reports in written format to these sessions. Then the fourth item is on the Google form and email that you can use to send these reports, and they are again available in the Zoom chat section. Then we have this session every Saturday at the same time. The time is the Sri Lankan time at 1 p.m. Sri Lankan time, which will not change even if our local times in maybe Australia, UK, or in any other country may change due to daylight savings. But this program will always be starting at 1 p.m. Sri Lankan time. So another thing that you can keep in mind. Then I think that is over, and I will stop sharing the screen for now. Okay, I will now hand the session over to Bhante for a talk on mindfulness as per our schedule. Over to you, Bhante. Much merits.
Okay, everybody. So I think we can spend about 15-20 minutes discussing about our practice a little bit more. And today I thought of giving you some information about the mind and mind objects, right? So we get a lot of mind objects, and usually these mind objects represent our mind. Let's say you hear something, then that is the one you feel. You get thoughts, then you feel them. So in a way, these mind objects, they claim the ownership of your mind. So that is happening all the time. So there's this concept saying that this mind is not a single ego. Instead, it has multiple egos. Or this mind is polypsychic. So what is happening is that every mind object that comes to your mind, they claim the ownership. They try to claim the ownership. They try to win. So this struggle is happening all the time. You can see even every single minute, you feel that various objects are trying to fight with each other and trying to win the situation. So all these mind objects, they claim to be the master. And thus begins your slavery. The mind objects, they claim to be the master of the mind, and thus begins your slavery. Due to this process, you become a slave to these mind objects. Your mind becomes a slave to these mind objects. They could be sights, they could be sounds, they could be smells, taste, or sensations, bodily sensations, or thoughts, emotions, various things they are. They try to be the master. So this fight is there. And due to that, your mind becomes a slave to these mind objects. So in a way, there are multiple egos. Everybody is claiming that they are the master. Let's say you get a thought, and they are trying to take the ownership of the mind. Then after a while, you get another thought. Then they claim the ownership. Then somebody come and tell something to you. Then that gets the ownership. Then you see something. Then that sight gets the ownership. So this is happening again and again. And you just become a slave to these objects. But that is not the true nature of the mind. Your mind have much deeper potential. The true nature of this mind is this reflective nature. So when we practice, we try to understand the true nature of this mind. We try to be aware how this process is happening. We try to notice how these mind objects try to claim the ownership of our mind. So when you observe this process again and again, when you do it again and again, even during your sitting practice, even during your walking practice, even during your day-to-day life, you try to observe. Okay, there's anger, and it is claiming the mind. There is sadness, and it is claiming the mind. There's a beautiful scenery, and it is claiming the mind. So you try to be aware. So that is why we say you have to continually observe this process. You have to notice what is happening again and again. With an open mind, we try to notice. We try to observe. When you try to observe with an open mind, you feel that there's this process going on. These mind objects, they fight for the ownership. They try to become the winner. Every moment this is happening, again and again this is happening. So the idea of the practice is to find the real nature, the potential of your mind. This nature, this potential, each is much deeper than these mind objects. It is this reflective nature of the mind that is real. That is the true potential of this mind. So when you practice, you try to understand that true potential. That is why we say, let the things come. Try to be mindful. So they come, they take the stage, they claim the ownership of the mind. Again, that person goes away, then another person comes. So it is like, it is polypsychic. There are multiple egos. Each mind object claims to be the ego. Each mind object claims to be the self. When you get anger, you become angry. When you get jealousy, that is your world. When you get sadness, you don't want to go outside, you want to stay on bed. So they come, they claim the ownership. So whatever comes into your mind, that ego becomes your ego. That self becomes your self. So time to time you are angry. Time to time you are sad. Time to time you are jealous. So this process is happening again and again. So one moment you could be happy. The next moment you are sad. Who are you? Who is the real person? One moment you are happy. Next moment you are sad. Who are you? So when we practice, we try to observe, we try to find the real reasoning. We try to maintain this awareness without judging. We maintain this open mind and we observe again and again. In a way, you ask from yourself, one moment I am happy, next moment I am sad. Who am I? Who is the real me? And when you practice like that, you realize these objects, they come and they go. And if you are able to accept that true nature, little by little, then you start to find the real potential of your mind. That is this reflective nature. That's the real potential. But it is not easy to embrace this real nature, because again and again these mind objects, they come, they claim the ownership. They try to become the master. So that's why we have to maintain this practice for a long time. That is why we recommend you to support this mindful practice with the formal meditation. Try to spend 40 minutes, 1 hour doing mindful walking. Try to spend 40 minutes, 1 hour doing mindful sitting. And with that help, with that support, you go into your day-to-day life. I know during work hours it is difficult, but even every few hours, you can try and maintain that awareness. You can try and be mindful for at least few minutes. So that way you continue this practice again and again. You have this overlook, you have this awareness over your mind, and try to observe what is happening. Again and again you observe. Okay, now this mind object is there. It is claiming the ownership. Now this is there. It is claiming the ownership. Okay, now the anger is there. Now the jealousy is there. Now the worrying is there. Now the sadness is there. Every time these things change, you try to be observer. You try to be aware. And that awareness, that observation, you try to maintain for a long period. And when you maintain that, you realize now you are embracing the true nature, which is not the mind objects. Instead, this reflective nature, that is the true nature of the mind. And more you practice, more you embrace that true nature. The way to realize is that you realize that the mind objects, they come and go, but you are not moved. You don't get moved as you used to be. Sadness is there, but still you can somehow function. Anger is there, still you can observe without reacting. Earlier you were shouting, you were blaming people, but now you be the observer and let the anger be for a while. And when you find this true potential, now you know, now deep inside you realize that your mind is not represented by these objects. Instead, it has this potential, it has this reflective nature, which is of course a good one. But the problem is that when the pleasant things come, it reflects the pleasant things. When the unpleasant things come, it reflects the unpleasant things. The reflective nature is always continuing, but when the pleasant things come, we become pleasant. When the unpleasant things come, we become unpleasant. That is the problem. So you have to maintain some kind of a distance from these mind objects and keep this mind free from their chaos. That freeness, that calm comes from maintaining this practice again and again. When you maintain this practice for a long period, there's a distance created between mind objects and your mind. The way to identify this distance is that you feel that although the anger is there, you are not moved so much. Although the sadness is there, you don't get so sad over it. Although the incidents are there, you can somehow function. So that is the realization in one's practice. That is a very valuable realization. Suddenly, one day it hits you. Sometimes you even complain, now my practice is not progressing, I can't see any light, I am not happy about my practice. You complain. But if you continue, one day it hits you. Suddenly you realize this happened, but I didn't get angry. So that's a valuable realization that you see the progress in this practice. Every day you can't see the balance, like we are checking the balance of your account. You can't see like that. Okay, I practiced 2 hours. What is the result? You can't check like that. But when you continue for a few weeks, few months, suddenly it hits you. Suddenly you feel that this happened, but still I am at peace. Okay, the person came and said something, but I was able to maintain my peace. So the mind object is there, but the mind is not moved so much. Still the object is there, anger is there, sadness is there. And if you pay attention, it becomes your world. But you can also maintain a distance. You pay attention, okay, the sadness becomes your world. But you pay attention to something else, then the sadness goes away. You pay attention to the sounds, then the thoughts go away. Again, you come back to the sadness, then sadness becomes your world. So in a way, we see a bigger picture and we have more control over it. Earlier, the sadness was there and that's all we saw. But now the sadness is also there, but other things are also there. The sounds are there, sights are there, then various bodily sensations are there. So instead of giving the ownership to that only that feeling, we try to maintain a balance. We try to see that there are other objects as well. And that practice helps you to create this type of a distance in your mind from these mind objects. And that is the way to find the true potential of this mind. This mind is the real master. He is the owner of these mind objects. But the problem is that it goes the other way. The objects, they come and they become the master. And mind, you become a slave to those objects. But during this practice, with this practice, you realize that the mind has this much greater potential, which is this reflective nature, and I can reclaim it. Little by little, you can develop this ability and you can claim the true ownership, which is this reflective nature, which is this great potential. And when you realize, when you embrace that potential, the mind objects are there, but you are not moved so much. That ability, that strength is developing. You just have to continue your practice. You just have to let them come and go and be the observer. See how this drama is acted. See how various people are coming and taking the stage. See how they become the owner, actor of the stage. And after a while, they go away. Then another new person comes. So these objects, they change. Always they change. You just have to be the observer. You just have to be aware what is happening. Okay, this is happening. Again, you pay attention. Okay, this is happening. Again, you pay attention. Okay, this is happening. So that way you maintain this awareness. You allow these objects to come and go. Don't try to refuse them. Don't try to push them away. Instead, let them be. And you just observe. When you observe more and more, you realize that you are creating some kind of a distance from these mind objects. And you embrace the true nature, the real potential of this mind. So this analogy of the sky is given. Initially, when you look at the sky, you feel that these clouds, they represent the sky. When it is a rainy day, you feel bad because the sky is covered, darkness is there. When it is a sunny day, you feel fresh. Okay, the sun is there, light is there, you feel happy. But is this correct? Is the sky is represented by these clouds? No, sky has a much greater potential. The clouds are only a small part of it. But our attention usually goes to the clouds. Even in our mind, that is what's happening. Our attention usually goes to these mind objects. And we think that they represent our mind and they become the owner of the mind. But truly, that is not the case. When you observe the sky again and again, you realize these clouds, they come and go. And the true potential of the sky is much deeper, much greater. With practice, you are embracing that true potential. You are going beyond these clouds. You are going beyond these mind objects to embrace the true potential, which is much greater, much deeper, which is the reflective nature of this mind. So one day you realize there is awareness, but there are no mind objects. Even being in that awareness, you can't verify it. You can only verify when you came out of it. Because without mind objects, you can't verify your mind. It is only that reflective nature is there. There should be an object to reflect back. So even in your sitting practice, even in your walking practice, even in your day-to-day life, you can see last few minutes, I was somewhere, I was aware, but I couldn't reflect back. Time slips. It starts to happen in the sitting practice initially. You see that few minutes I was aware, but I wasn't sure. Only now I can reflect back. Last few minutes, I was somewhere, I was aware, I was not asleep, but I couldn't reflect back. Because without mind objects, you can't really reflect, verify that you are alive, that you are living. So this is embracing the true potential. It comes through practice. Initially, probably in the sitting practice. Then it goes to the walking. And then even to day-to-day life, you realize time to time, this mind goes into the true potential. This mind will embrace the true potential, which is much deeper, which is the reflective nature. And when you introduce this to your mind little by little, when you identify this true potential, deeper reality, then it is not moved by the clouds so much. It is not moved by these mind objects so much. So that creates the distance between mind objects and your mind. And you become the true master of your mind. Otherwise, you are always slave to other people's situations. When the people come and praise you, you're happy. When they come and blame you, you are sad. When the situations are all right, you are happy. When the situations are bad, you are unhappy. So in a way, you are giving the ownership to other people, other situations. But this practice is all about claiming your ownership, embracing the true ownership of this mind, embracing the true nature of this mind. That is not too difficult. You just have to maintain your practice. Do it for a few weeks, few months. Invest proper time. Do 1 hour walking, 1 hour sitting, and try to maintain this awareness in your day-to-day life. And when you do that, within few weeks, within few months, you can see the results for yourself. And when you see the results, you don't have to believe me anymore. You know for yourself. You know that earlier these situations created so much trouble. Now I am not so troubled. Now the situations are there, the problems are there, but I am not moved so much. My mind is at peace. Situations are there, people are there, but still I'm at peace. I'm in a crowded situation, still my mind is at peace. People are coming and blaming me, still I can maintain calm inside my mind. So that potential is what we are aiming after. And you can see for yourself, the invitation is to practice. try and practice for seeing, and you realize on your own. You just have to spend some time doing the walking, sitting, and day-to-day practice. And if you share that experience with the group, then everybody can benefit. I think that's enough for today. So thank you for listening.
Much merits, Bhante, and thank you so much for that wonderful and insightful talk just now. And with that, our activities are coming to a close to a end of session. I would like to reflect quickly on the achievements of this session so far for today. Firstly, we had an in-session mindful walking practice, and then we proceeded on to the Q&A session, and then we proceeded on to Bhante's talk. So with all this, we gathered a lot of insight and were able to refresh our training on mindfulness. And for that, I would like to thank Venerable Bhante Homagama Dhamma Kusala Thero for representing Nissarana Vanaya Forest Monastery and spending Bhante's valued time from Bhante's schedule on our behalf to educate us on this highly valued subject, which helps us every second in our life in day-to-day activities. So much merits to Bhante, and we hope that Bhante's own practice will improve as a result of all these contributions to now from all the sessions on this program. Then I would like to mention and thank Most Venerable Bhante Udairegam Dhammajiva Mahathero for his insights and direction for this program to be initiated. And I would also like to thank all the organizers who have worked very hard at the very beginning to initialize this program, and who are still working on sustaining this program at a high level of quality. So thank you, and much merits to all of you, and hope these merits will improve your own practice too. And then I would like to thank and mention all the attendees or participants attending these sessions, and those of you who have, especially those who have joined today's session, for your participation, without which this program will not sustain. So it is because of you that we are also, as even organizers, we are having to work hard, be present in the program, mindfully learn and be mindful during sessions. So thank you, and many merits to all of you too. With that, I would like to say that that is a close of the mindfulness session. Then if anyone has any questions or comments, I can give you half a minute to raise Zoom hand quickly as a customary agenda item on our program. Okay, I think there's no one raising the hand for today, and I do see some comments of appreciation on the program, and thank you, and many merits to you for sharing your thoughts. You are most welcome, and we would like all of you to keep attending these sessions. I have 3 quick announcements I will make now. I'll share the screen quickly. Firstly, there is Meetirigala Nissarana Forest Monastery website, which is www.nissarana.lk. Please visit the site if you have the time, and you can learn about the Forest Monastery and its beginnings and its current activities and all the information. This will definitely help you to be more inspired in your practice. Second notice is the Satipasala Foundation, a large and a massive and well-organized activity-based program, a foundation which is sustaining a process to spread the message and learning of mindfulness to students in Sri Lanka, overseas, and also adults in Sri Lanka and overseas. So please go onto this website and find out for yourself about all the wonderful work that is happening there. So for the third notice, I will stop sharing the screen. So the third notice is please feel welcome to share the news of this program to all your friends or office colleagues who might be interested. And also please know that some people might not be willing to attend directly, but that is okay. You can just spread the message and see if anyone is interested that they will join too. With that, I think the program is coming to an end, and I would like to wrap up here and mention that it's been a pleasure conducting these programs from our end as organizers, and we hope your continued participation. And I wish all of you a happy and mindful week ahead. And again, I would like to make the prominent statement of thanks and merits to Venerable Bhante for Bhante's participation. So with that, I will end the session and see you all next week. Have a mindful and happy week ahead. Thank you.